Mlikota here, back again for our next episode of Real Talk, where I'm chatting with real people, real humans who have created great things for their life because they connected with what they wanted for their life and they started to take the steps towards it. And today I'm really delighted to bring Lana Hill on our show for you to meet. I met Lana just a couple of months ago actually, but from the day that I've met Lana, I've been so inspired. I love what she's creating for herself, her family, and her community. And so, Lana, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. So can you take us back, share with us your backstory?
Yeah, well, you might notice there is a bit of an accent, which I'm in denial of until I watch a video and then I go, oh, wow, do I sound like that?
Really? Yeah, I love
it. I'm from Texas, USA originally, not Texas, Australia, which apparently is a place that I'll someday visit. And I grew up kind of in the countryside of Texas. I was always very driven as a kid, loved to be busy, was actually homeschooled so I could do more activities like dance and tennis and twirling and singing and you name it. I probably tried it. Some I was good at and stuck with, some not so much. But yeah, it really formed kind of who I am today because I'm still love to be very busy. I have a really hard time not doing something all the time and trying to always, aim to be more as well in terms of always, setting goals and looking for what's next. It's just a part of who I am, has been since I was young. I'm going to mention something just because I think it'll probably come up a little bit later, but I did through high school and college, I suffered with eating disorders. So I had anorexia during high school and then I had a binge eating disorder during college. And really that did come from being very driven. I know a lot of people think, they're really weak. They just couldn't get their head on straight. But actually I was just so driven that I wanted to control everything. And that included my food at that time. And then I kind of had a phase where I felt like I lost control, which was when I was binging. And it was just a sense of kind of losing myself during that period. And as much as anorexia was a struggle to get through, I think binge eating probably left the biggest scar. And that it's been a long battle and something I do live with. But after college, I started kind of getting my head on straight, started being able to slowly recover from binge eating because I found a job that I loved. I was working in radio and I was doing some marketing and promotions for a radio channel, but it paid $7 an hour.
$7.
Doesn't pay for your petrol to work.
No.
Great job. And it was really funny because I found a job that I loved and there was a community with that came along with that job that worked there. And that helped me recover from binge eating. But at the same time, I was also like, this isn't actually a stable position. I can't pay rent. This doesn't make sense. So when I kind of struggled to find another job, it wasn't great time to be job hunting in the US. I decided to just travel. I came to Australia as an au pair and fast forward a year, got offered a job in marketing and they were going to sponsor me. So I came back because it seemed easier than job hunting in the States, which I was probably a little bit scarred from. I was like, that was really hard the first time and I failed and I don't like failing. So I was like, I'll take that job so I don't have the potential of failing finding a job. So I came here and kicked off a marketing career. Unfortunately, I wasn't as happy as I would have liked to have been in that particular position. Loved what I was doing, just needed to do it my way. I know, right? So I grew up with my parents being business owners, and then my now husband at the time, my partner, was a business owner. So I was like, I'm just going to start my own business. But I didn't have a network. I didn't really know anybody. So started my own business, just really got out there, started networking, which is where we've met. And to be honest, most of my relationships in Australia come from networking. So I'm very active in networking and I'm very active in the marketing space. Obviously, that is Space Digital is my business, and I've got a business partner now as well, and love everything I do with the marketing side. And I really have probably stayed in Australia. Obviously, my husband's a big part of that, but I think it's the people and the lifestyle. I think Australia is I feel really at home here now because the lifestyle just really suits me. I love how outdoors we're able to be, and the people that I've met is just gold.
Yeah. What is it about the people? Because that is one thing, I shared when I introduced you. I am so inspired by you. And one of the things that I'm really inspired by is your ability to connect with people, and also the way that you bring people together and how you make people feel. And so what is it about people and, the community in Australia that you like specifically?
I think a part of it is, I guess, because I do meet most of the people that I surround myself with through networking. I find they're very like-minded. And then because most of my relationships were formed from networking, and that could be with business owners or just business professionals or people who are just driven. Like sometimes they don't know what they want to be, but they're going out there and they're meeting people hoping to find it.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of people in that scenario. And even though, they don't see themselves listening, they're going, oh, but I'm not a business owner. I'm not this. And I'm like, yeah, but you're someone who's just as driven as us.
Yeah.
And you're really focused on finding you and being the best version of you. Mm-hmm. And because I'm meeting people in scenarios where, they're showing that off, I guess it makes it really easy to find like-minded individuals and also connect to them, which I love doing. I love being a connector. I think it's so cool that I came here I think it's like 7 or 8 years ago now, but people come to me and go, oh, do you know someone who does this?
Yeah.
Or, even my husband was like, I'm looking for someone new for my team. This is what I need. Do you know anybody, or do any of your friends know someone? And I'm like, you were born here. Shouldn't you know that?
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think, helping people find new relationships and new friendships and new partnerships is pretty rewarding.
Yeah, and that is the community that you create, and that's one of the things that I love about when I met you and coming into your community, which is now one of my communities. So you continue. I just wanted to jump into that. So you came to Australia. You loved the people side of it, and then
so I guess I started Space Digital. Well, at the time it was another company, and then I merged with my business partner, and Space Digital was born. And we've definitely grown the business. We've had kind of ups and downs. We originally tried to be everything to everybody, and that was a bit of a challenge and didn't work out. So we were trying to just make everyone happy, and I think there was 2 parts to that equation that failed a little bit. One, like we weren't passionate about all aspects of the business. So we found that we were trying to hire people that would take control of it because we didn't love it. And that doesn't always work. It could potentially, but it didn't work for us. So 2020, we just went, you know what are we really passionate about? Let's offer those services and nothing else. And that's been a really cool change for us. And you can tell that there's a big shift in the passion from all of the team members, because we're all just focusing on areas that we love and not getting bogged down with areas that we don't. And it's helped me a lot as well, because I think, we were so focused on growing. We thought we had to do everything for everybody. But then within a heart-to-heart, after the growth took a lot of pounding at myself and my business partner, we ended up sitting down, having a coffee and going, what do we want? Like, do we want to be do we want to be a big agency that does everything for everybody, or what are we trying to create for ourselves and our team? And we found that having that real conversation, like, I don't think we knew when we started anyway. So it took a bit of, beating to get it, to find it. And I went, I want a bit of balance. Like, I had recently had my daughter, who's now 14 months. I thought I wanted, I thought my goal was to just be some successful woman who won awards and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, actually, I'm happiest when I get to spend a bit of time with her. I get to go to work and accomplish awesome things and meet awesome people. And I also love having time for my friends and having time for my husband. So I realized that winning awards is probably going to make me happy for about 5 minutes, but being able to have a day where I fit a little bit of everything in as I want is so rewarding, day after day after day. So I found that was what I was looking for. My business partner got really clear on what he wanted, and we went, okay, well, let's just aim for that. And it's like, even with everything going on in the world right now, we're still like, 2020 is definitely still our year because we're so clear on what we're after. And I actually think that was where we were holding ourselves back, is we didn't have clarity. But we've since found that, and you can tell the team has found a bit of clarity in us finding what we wanted as well.
That certainty in your, what you guys believe in and what you're passionate about, it ripples on. I love so much of what you said there. I particularly love really connecting with what was important to both of you and creating a business out of that. And, you know, 2020, despite everything that's going on in the world, you and people are still creating amazing things. And from what I'm hearing, it really sounds like that's because you connected with what's important. So you continue to create that. And I really heard balance there. So talk to me about what balance means to you and what feeling that gives you that you wouldn't have got from the award as such.
Yeah. Well, I was always kind of one of those going, oh, what is work-life balance and why does everybody talk about it?
Yeah.
And then you have a kid and you kind of go, okay, maybe there is such thing. But I do love working, and I expected, like, whenever I first came back from maternity leave, I told my business partner, give me a month, I'll be back full time. My daughter, some dream child I have, goes to bed at 6 o'clock and sleeps till 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
This morning she slept till 7:30. I had to go wake her up. I'm like, dude, kid,
That is dirty.
I know, right? And she wouldn't even let me read her a book last night. It was 5:45. She wouldn't even let me read her a book. She wanted to go to bed so badly. So
yeah,
I have a kid who loves clearly going to bed for the night and sleeping through. And I'm sorry for all of you moms who hate me, or parents who hate me for saying that. But if I get home at 5:30, I don't see her. Except for on the weekends. Then, maybe an hour in the morning. Most of the mornings I start at 6:30 a.m. So not even then sometimes. I leave before she wakes up. So I kind of looked at it and went, I can't go back to normal work hours. And I had all of these fears around that. Like, are my clients going to be disappointed in me? What's my business partner going to think if he's working more hours than I am? And, what are my staff going to think? And are people going to want to work with us if they know that, I'm off at 3 o'clock and they can't get a hold of me? Yeah. And I just was battling with all of these thoughts. And finally, I think I kind of was maybe sitting on them to a point where I got a bit teary over them, and I was like, I don't know what I want, a bit of a melting point. And then I started talking to people about it and realized no one but me cared. So I had a chat with my business partner, and he's like, if our business is growing, I don't care if you work an hour a day, as long as you're achieving what we've set out to achieve. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And my clients, well, if they call me, if someone calls me, I pick up if I can. Even if my daughter's in the background, but I'm very honest with them. I go, sorry, I finished work for the day. I finished a bit early to be with my family. Is this something you can put in an email? Or tell me now, but there's a kid in the background, and nobody cares. Like, everybody's so understanding, and most people finish with like, good for you. I'm like, oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's inspirational. Yeah.
Yeah. And for a while I set an email autoresponder saying I don't respond after 2:30 in the afternoon. And I just assumed it was probably annoying people because nobody seemed to care. If something was urgent, they'd call me anyway. So my big lesson there was to have balance, you have to realize that firstly, you're probably the only one that cares about a lot of these things. Like, you're probably the only one who cares if you're the one vacuuming the house, or if you paid someone to do it. You're the only one that is thinking, oh my gosh, am I an inadequate, parent because I didn't vacuum or I didn't make dinner? Probably nobody cares. my husband doesn't care. My husband thinks outsourcing is the best thing ever. So
yeah.
he's like, why aren't you already outsourcing that?
You've inspired me to outsource too, Tick. Yeah. That's going to happen in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Oh yeah. It makes such a difference for your life. And people will actually do exactly what you did. They're like, cheers, good on you, you know? So I've kind of let down the start of going, you know, I don't have to be everything. Nobody really cares if I'm everything to everybody. And what's happened off the result of that has been balance. And I kind of look at it as well, like my nanny absolutely loves being a nanny, and she loves my daughter, and we spent Mother's Day together because I was like, we're in this together.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
But like, I think about it and I'm like, well, you know, I've also given her a job. Like it's not something that I should be ashamed of, because I've actually created more work in Australia and more work for in the world. And she feels reward out of that. I feel reward out of that. And I think we continue. It's really about who you surround yourself with, right? Like, she's part of my team at home, the same way I have a team at work, and we create awesome things. Really.
I love that. It really is who we surround ourselves with. And I think also what you said there, you know, the stories, you know, nothing has meaning except the meaning that we give it. And what that really means is the stories that we create in our head is what we create in our life. And what you've done there is absolutely change the story. You could have stayed with the narrative that you had to try and do it all. And, you know, you wouldn't have then created that passionate career and then time with your daughter. And to do that, you changed the story. You can hear how you changed that story.
Yeah.
Is that something that when you were doing it, because I can appreciate that changing the story, especially coming from a high performing lifestyle and way of living, to change that story, did you go through any emotional things to sort of push through that, or did you have that end goal in mind of balance and this is what I'm looking to create? What feelings came up for you?
Definitely not. I look at my journals, like I was doing goal setting year on year, and I look at them and I'm like, oh, that's what I wanted last year. Like, by the end of the year, it was so off. Like,
really?
What I needed. Yeah, it was funny. I feel like I'm just constantly evolving, but I guess this is kind of where the eating disorder story comes back in. I can definitely track my emotional state to food, and it's not even what people think. Like, a lot of people think, she'll binge eat if she's depressed or this or that. It's actually if I'm hiding food from people and how I relate to judgment with food. So if I'm in a place where I'm ashamed to eat in front of my husband, or ashamed of what I'm bringing to lunch, then I know that, or, you know, I back away from sugar. Like, if someone offers me a cupcake, I'm like, oh, I can't even taste the icing. I'm like, oh my gosh. Then I it takes a while before I realize I'm doing it, but I eventually kind of go, if something's not sitting right with me, because I've become very isolated with food, and that's becoming what I'm controlling instead of other aspects of my life. I'm trying to control how people see me with food and how I'm behaving around food. And I guess one of the things that I notice is, especially with balance, and I think as much as I would set goals at the beginning of the year, and I'm like, oh, I want to achieve this for the business, and I want to achieve this at home and all that. Most of those big goals that we set for ourselves, they really are kind of short-lived. And through this journey, I didn't know that I needed balance until I didn't have it. And I was going, I'm trying to be everything to everyone. And like, then I would quickly, as I said, I quickly see something going on that's not normal, where I become really ashamed of food, and I really become ashamed of that relationship. And so then it's about kind of working out what's causing that. And then that should really be my goal. So I think to an extent, it's always been balance that I needed to keep a healthy lifestyle and to keep okay with myself. But I never really found the word until I became a mom. And I think a lot of moms are probably in the same situation, where you have this expectation of who you're going to be as a mom. And, you know, I always knew that I'd probably have a nanny and I'd come back to work and things like that. But I found even then that even though I'm pretty much living what I expected, there was a lot of things I didn't anticipate. And it's just been about making sure that I communicate with people, and that I don't put pressures on myself in that goal. Like, I think goal setting is great, but I also think sometimes they change a lot and you have to be okay with that.
Yeah, change happens, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess, I'm not sure if I'm answering the point, but I just didn't see that I didn't have like an end goal there of like, I'm going to achieve balance in my life. It was just all of a sudden I needed it. And I had to have the right conversations with people and have the right conversation with myself. And then I found the result of that was, I have, as bad as it is, like in the last 6 months, I've eaten more sugar since I've become a mom. I've eaten more sugar than ever. I think it's because through pregnancy, you crave it. But I'm not ashamed of it. And like, I can't remember the last time someone handed me a cupcake and I ate it in front of them until I was like pregnant. And now that I'm a mom, I was like, surely that'll fade as soon as I'm a mom. Now I'm still like, oh no, bring it on. But I don't see myself as like, I don't see myself and go, oh, I'm so ashamed, or I need to go work that off or anything. I just all of a sudden, I'm like, cool, it can't hurt me. Like, that food can't change who I am. You know, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of who I am with the cupcake or without it.
I love that. And I think what you have shared here so much really taps into the emotion side of things, because, you know, whether it's the cupcake or alcohol, or that's the thing, but it's what meaning are you giving that? And what I love that you've worked through that, but you've worked through that because you've identified, for you it was the need for control, or you tapped into your patterns of behavior, you know, if you were then hiding to eat it, and what you did rather than hiding that more or focusing on the thing, you know, the cupcake, or hiding the sugar, focused on you and what was really going on. And as a result, you've then created the balance. And that's so real.
I'm pretty lucky that I think I do have that association, and that I'm able to see it. But I've also given people in my life permission to let me know if something doesn't seem right as well. So most people are pretty closed off about eating disorders and eating habits and things like that, whereas I'm very open with it. I was open with my partner, and he doesn't tell me like, oh, you need to stop dieting or you need to stop doing this, but he'll go, you're kind of acting weird around food again. You know, like he'll kind of give me some trigger. My mom, if my face looks too thin, she's like, how's your eating going? You know, like, everybody's very open with me about it. And they are, and I have a blog that is kind of born off of that openness, where I feel a lot better when I'm writing about it and when I'm being open about it than when it's locked up inside of me. And I kind of hope that the blog also helps people along the way, because I know a lot of, not so much people with the eating disorder, but actually the people surrounding those. So, you know, the moms and the dads and the best friends are going, what are they thinking? How are they feeling? How do I help them? So the blog's a lot for people who are wanting to understand it better, not just those going through it. And then for everybody, like it's called Lana Smiles is the website, but it's my smile project. So I really drive every day to just put more smiles on people's faces. That came from a professor I had in college, actually, which she said, if you aren't feeling well that day, and keep in mind I had a binge eating disorder at the time, so I had to do this every single day, but she said, if you're not feeling well that day, get out of bed, put on your favorite outfit. You know, if you usually wear makeup, put on a bit of makeup, do your hair, whatever it is, take a shower. If you usually take a shower in the morning, do your usual routine, and then walk out the door. And if you still don't feel well, then you can get back in bed. But it's going to be a lot healthier for you if you can get out, if you're not really sick. Like if it's just a mental state, it'll be a lot healthier if you get out and speak to people and surround yourself with people. So every day I'd wake up from a night of binging and I'd do my usual routine, and that would really keep me going, because I could have easily been in a very depressed state. And so now I'm just looking for opportunities to put more smiles on people's faces, because I would smile at myself in the mirror and go, I can do today, regardless of how gross I felt last night, you know? And to this day, I still try to make sure I smile at myself every morning,
See?
just to feel a sense of awesomeness in the morning. You know, if you get ready in the morning and then you just leave and you haven't really taken time to talk to anyone or smile, then you kind of start your day feeling a bit off. Whereas if you get, even if you're home alone, you do a big smile and you're like, all right, let's do this. Then you're going to start the day feeling pretty cool.
I love it. And you do create that. And I love hearing that that's your strategy behind it, because you do create that, you know, in a room. You walk into a room with you, Lana, and I have a huge smile. And so does everyone else in that room. So you are absolutely creating that. And what I also love in terms of what you're sharing with all of that is that everything that you do, and this is one of the things that, you know, I said at the start that I'm very inspired by you, and I knew it would come out kind of why. But one of the things is you really do so much for yourself. You do so much for others as well. You know, your blog, you know, that sharing your story and you transforming the way you think about food and sharing that helps others. And, you know, what you're sharing in terms of, you know, outsourcing, that gives other people jobs. The way that you think about the world, I'm really inspired by. So thank you for sharing that.
I haven't thought about it that way, but yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And that, you know, what you then create for your daughter and your entire community, people feed off that.
Yeah, most certainly. I think that if you can change the way, like so many people just feel shame around, you know, outsourcing parenting or outsourcing the cleaning or even outsourcing pieces at work. And not that, you know, I think men and women are that different, but I do think I hear a lot more females. Like most of the men are like, oh my gosh, get a cleaner already. Whereas the females are like, no, I've got to do it all. I've got to be, you know, I've got to be a bit of the breadwinner, and I've got to be the person taking care of the house and doing the laundry and watching the kids. And really, like, would you prefer to have, I would prefer someone to vacuum so that I can spend an hour just watching my daughter and doing nothing else. And we dance in the kitchen or we dance outside. I'm trying to teach her country music because there's not enough of it in this country. So I would rather someone else vacuum so that I can spend a quality hour teaching her how to sing country music.
Yes. How's her country singing going?
You know, I'm sure the neighbors enjoy the show.
She's just so cute. They'll love it. And they'll love your accent. You'll have to record it.
Oh gosh.
Bring it in.
But no, it did take there was a lot of shame, I think I said earlier, but there was a lot of shame when I first looked at it all of, I'm not working as many hours as my business partner, so I'm not doing my part. And there was a lot of shame, but it was just restructuring the way I think about it. And even with the nanny, instead of thinking, oh, I'm outsourcing being a mom, like I'm giving someone a job and I'm giving my daughter someone who actually gives her a lot of attention. Like my nanny doesn't try to multitask. She's just there with her. Guaranteed if I was at home, I'd be like multitasking, and she wouldn't get that one-on-one, like that, one-on-one attention that she gets with my nanny. So who I love.
And you created that, you know, that structure and that strategy so that you can then focus on, you want to then be focusing on, that time we need to be. What was the plan? So if someone's listening today in terms of, okay, I get it, and, you know, I want to be able to do that. What was the plan? Do you have just a couple of steps that people could take who are looking to create that in their life, Lana?
Yeah. I think just making sure that there's kind of three main things that I have found in this journey. One is communication, just making sure that you're communicating with those around you. You know, if there's something that you're feeling that you're just assuming, you know, your partner is upset with, they're probably not, or you're thinking it and they're not thinking it. So making sure you are open with your communication. I'm even open with my communication with my clients. I tell them what's going on, how, you know, when they say, oh, will you be the main source of communication in the business? I say no, because I'm in meetings most of the day. And then when I'm not in meetings, I'm with my kids, and that, you know, doesn't mean I'm going to get back to you as quickly as someone else might. So I'm very open with my clients, and I find that they appreciate it. Have definitely worked on building a more open communication with my business partner. So we're like very open with our goals and what we're trying to achieve, and, you know, making then all that shame that comes kind of with it goes away because he's not feeling it, and he's not thinking, oh, you're not working enough. And I'm going, oh, well, then why am I thinking that, as long as I am achieving those goals. So just making sure you communicate with everyone, I think makes you feel a lot better and a lot less shame around things. And then making sure that you thank everybody is a big one. So I try to make sure everyone knows how grateful I am. That's why I spent Mother's Day with my nanny. I actually was kind of kicking myself because even though I only see my cleaner once a week, she's amazing, and she's even really good with my daughter. So I was like, I should have invited her. We take care of the house together. We should do Mother's Day. So next year,
you're a true networker and connector, right, Lana?
Maybe a little bit. But yeah, I just am very thankful to my team. I try to show them that on a regular basis. Thankful to my business partner and my husband, some of the people in the B4B community that, make being a connector possible. So just don't take anyone for granted. It's really easy to not say thank you enough. And it's really easy not to let someone feel appreciated by just missing that step. But it's also really easy to make them feel appreciated with a simple thank you message, and it doesn't always, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't have time or money to send flowers to everybody. And I'm like, that's okay. Just call them and say thank you, or text them and say thank you with a nice little message about how that made your life easier or how grateful you are for what they've done. And then probably my last thing is just to make sure that immediately jump to a conclusion. So we were actually talking about this the other day about females can sometimes have a lot of hate for each other. And I think that sometimes that is instinctual. Like, you see someone and you're like, oh, are they my competition? Are they prettier than I am? Are they this? But knowing that you can get past it. So that might be your first instinct to think that. And it might be the first instinct to think, oh, and if I'm not doing this part of, if I'm not doing this, does it make me less of a person? But pushing past it. So not listening to your first instinct, because those instincts are kind of there. Like, you can't just change the way that you think. It's still going to come into your brain.
Brain. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, for me, I'm like, okay, if I don't see that person as competition, what could we create together? Just thinking past it. And same with myself. If I go, okay, yes, sometimes I think I should probably spend more time with my daughter, but what kind of life am I creating for her when I'm not with her? And in the end of the day, like, isn't Mariana giving her a great amount of attention that she's, loving? Pushing past those thoughts, but knowing that they are going to be there, that you just have to take a little bit of time to get past them.
3 awesome tips there. What has been, Lana, your greatest achievement?
I would have to say getting to a point where I do feel like I'm a role model to others, as cocky as that may sound, but being someone who they say you never recover from an eating disorder, which I totally agree with, but being someone who people who are on that journey could potentially look up to and know that there's life on the other side of it. And being, a role model to just my daughter by being someone who does dance with her on the balcony with no shame.
I love that. Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, even in the business world, like, a lot of people who are new in business or looking to develop themselves personally, I don't think I'm, all in all, like, I'm not winning awards. I'm not some awesome award-winning businesswoman, but I'm just a real human businesswoman who is striving to be the best that I can. And I think as long as I have that, people will be attracted to look at what I'm doing and either want to work with me or want to learn from me. And they probably don't realize I'm doing the same back to them, but that's okay. That's good.
I love that. And I love that your journey and what you want to create in the world isn't for an award. You're not doing it for the award, for that external validation. You're doing it to actually help people and impact lives. And, dance with your daughter on the balcony. That's what people want in their life. They don't actually want the award. They want the feeling the award's giving them. So I love that you're making it actually about real stuff and the feeling that you can get every single day. It's like you don't need the holiday. Just create that in your life. So
yeah,
that's
exactly. I actually, growing up, I taught dance
yeah.
to younger girls, and some of them were my junior bridesmaid, because to this day they still go. They don't tell me like straight up I'm one of their role models, but I think they always want to catch up with me when I'm in Texas, and they have, I guess, made it very clear that they're watching what I'm doing. And it's them who has made me a better person, because I go, I know they're watching. So I do want to be the best version of myself. So as much as, it does sound a bit cocky to be like, oh, I'm a role model, it also makes you a better person to think, I'm a role model. People are watching what I'm doing. I better bring my best self to today.
Yeah, I love it. And bringing your best self. So you recently had a photo shoot. Tell me about this photo shoot and what you were shooting for and what you've created.
Yeah, so I did a photo shoot with Cindy Lee from Studio for Photography, who's amazing, and she's fabulous. But she is aware that most times women want photos taken, and then they want it all photoshopped. They want all the wrinkles gone, and they want the smile lines disappeared. So they sent me back the photos, and I went, doesn't feel like me. So I actually sent it back, and I said, oh, can we tone back the editing a little bit? And they sent it back, and I said, okay, some of them are great, but can we tone it back even a little bit more? I said, I know that I have lines right here, and I kind of want to see them. Like, I don't want people to see a photo of me on Facebook and then meet me in person and be like, oh, are those lines new?
Yeah.
They popped up during pregnancy, and I think that's okay. I didn't have them before pregnancy, but they're there now. So I'm proud of them, and I also just want people to see the real me. I think she does an amazing job with photos, and I probably don't look just like that all the time, but I don't want to also be using photo editing software to create some image of myself that isn't the real me. And I think it probably comes from just knowing that I did overcome things like eating disorders, and a lot of that can be caused by putting that false sense into the world. And it's nice for us to show the real us to other people so that they can feel like they can be real as well.
You've just given permission for people to be real, and for all the little ones watching you, your daughter, because it's not what we say, it's what we do, right?
Yeah.
Talking about wanting a real life, and then editing out the wrinkles. The intention's good, but it's not real. So I love that.
And I actually think you did that really well, Lauren. I've been following your journey on social, and it's amazing to see that it doesn't matter if you've been on a run or if you're all dolled up, you still hop behind the camera and do a video and do a live. And I find it really inspiring to follow you. You've kind of brought a bit of that back into my life of going, oh yeah, I need to be putting all the realness out there. Like, not just, it's almost like, I guess I had forgotten that you need to do it. And following you, I went, it's really inspiring to watch what you're doing. And so I actually want to be more involved in that and making sure that people see the real side of things.
Thank you. I love that. And that's, that is why I get out of bed every morning. One of the reasons I get out of bed every morning, bringing that back to what's real for people. And thank you. Thank you. That's what helps me make a difference in the world, because we're all real. We're all, do you know what? One of the best things I learned is that I'm a flawed human being, and that we're all flawed human beings. My hubby is a flawed human being. We all are. And I love it. I love it because it loses the perfectionism, and I want to help more people experience it.
I actually think people want to work with people who aren't perfect. I think they're usually intimidated by this concept of perfection, that they're like, I can't even work with that person because they're too perfect. Whereas people really like to deal with real people. So I think having that realization can help anyone's business, to be honest, because people want to work with real people, whether you're in a workplace, and you're trying to build your way up, it's somebody's going to want to see the real you, and they don't want this image of perfectionism that honestly can't be management material, because at the end of the day, people are going to be coming to you with their problems, and they need to know that as a manager, you'd be able to handle it, and you'd be able to, give them some good advice, and you'd be able to deal with it Whereas if you have this little perfect image popping along, it honestly doesn't really help anybody.
No. It just increases stress and overwhelm for people, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, and it makes you a bit unapproachable, I think, sometimes as well, which, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Speaking of advice, so what is the advice that you would give our audience today? I know you've shared a couple of things. Is there anything in addition to what you've shared, Lana?
I guess my biggest piece of advice is what I talked about earlier, which is just waking up every day and putting a smile on your face, and looking at yourself in the mirror and being excited to start the day. But I'll take it one step further and say the first person you see in the morning, also smile at them, whether it's a child or a partner or someone, you're seeing at a networking event or someone at work or someone on the train. Just if you can start your day and someone else's with a smile, you just feel better. If you know that you've added a smile to someone else's face by giving them a smile. And I actually thought it's pretty interesting through coronavirus times, when we were social distancing on the sidewalk, how many people didn't smile at me and how that made me feel. Because normally people are so friendly on the sidewalk, and all of a sudden I noticed there was like the fact that somebody was getting off the sidewalk to stay away from you. If they didn't smile, it made you feel really bad inside. Like I genuinely didn't like the feeling. So I'd make a point as I was social distancing from them to smile, because I think it just added, a level of we're in this together, versus if you're just getting away from someone, it's like, oh, get away from me, stay away, germs.
Doesn't it?
So the smile made all the difference for me through this time with coronavirus, to be honest. And it made me just remember how powerful a simple smile could be.
And it's so true how powerful a smile can be. And I watch how well kids do this. They'll smile and people will smile straight back, and we can do it. We can.
That's true. Yeah.
Smile. I love that. Beautiful advice. Lana, what legacy do you want to leave on the world?
So I really do want to change the world one smile at a time. I obviously am very involved in marketing, and I think we create amazing things and amazing results for our clients. And as a result, we put smiles on their faces. I aim to, be a good friend that's always helping my friends smile on the down and the up times. And anything that I'm putting on social, I try to keep very positive, because I want it to create smiles. So I would say, if anything, I want to create more smiles in the world and more positive vibes, and let that be my legacy. On my blog about section, I actually say, like, I used to dream of being famous. Like, I was a singer and a dancer and all that. So of course, like, I wanted to grow up and be famous. But then now, the only thing I really want is to share my hope, get my message out there, and help create, by smiling at someone in the morning, create another smile in the world. I think that'll leave a lasting impression. That's the lasting impression I want to leave, is what I'm getting at. But yeah,
I love
that's what I'm about.
I love it. You've definitely brought a smile to my face today. And I know when I walk into a room with you in the room, Lana, the room is full of smiles. So it's definitely a legacy that you will be leaving on this world.
Thank y'all. Thanks.
Lana, how do we follow you?
Yeah, so I obviously have my business Face Digital, so that's facedigital.com.au. And if you are a business owner out there and you want good marketing advice, I'm who you want to talk to. There's my plug. But if you are looking for just some positive vibes in your life, lanasmiles.com is the URL. And I've got a Facebook group called the Smile Tribe, which you can find from the website. And it's all just about adding quotes and adding good vibes into the world, and helping, more people feel good at the end of the day, is what the mission of that page is about.
Oh, the Smile Tribe.
Yes. The Smile Tribe.
I love it. I love it all. Lana, thank you so much for coming on today. I'm incredibly grateful. I'm incredibly grateful for meeting you just a few months ago, and I'm grateful to having to be able to share your messages today. As I said at the start, I'm inspired so much by what you do, and it's the little things that you do every single day that make a difference. And
100%. Yeah.
You brought a smile to my face today, and I know you'll bring so many more smiles to this interview.
Thanks, Lauren. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, it has. You're most welcome. So everyone, that's a wrap for our Real Talk today. Thank you so much for watching, and we will be back on here again really, really soon. If you take anything from today, I know that you will have a smile on your face as a result of connecting with Lana today. So thank you. Bye. Hey everyone, Lauren Mlikota here. If you liked this video and want to receive even more like it, then click the subscribe button below so that you can keep updated with regular content that I am posting just for you. So take action right now, click the subscribe button below, and I look forward to connecting with you again really soon.